All right. Well, coming up to, we're taking a closer look at Governor Whitmer's budget proposal that she brought out earlier this week, specifically when it comes to education. We talk so much about K-12. It's no longer K-12. It's really pre-K all the way through college and the wraparound services with that. So say hello to Lori Higgins. She is the bureau chief for Chalkbeat Detroit, a longtime education journalist here in the city. Lori, it's so good to have you with me.
Hi, Christy. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, why don't you go through and we'll talk about some of the biggest changes here in this proposal for this budget. And I want to start with free preschool for all, regardless of income. Talk about cost factors there and what the governor is hoping that's going to boost.
Well, her plan last year was to gradually increase the number of Michigan students who are receiving this free preschool program. It's called the Great Start Readiness Program. It's for 4-year-olds, and generally it had been for students mostly, who come from low-income homes. Her initiative would essentially create a universal preschool program in Michigan, and this year she's proposing getting to that universal status 2 years ahead of time. So that would mean investing about $125 million to provide this program for about 6,800 additional students.
Yeah, and when she talks about making this part of a larger program to try to attract families to come to the state of Michigan, on the other end of the spectrum, she's proposing free community college for all high school graduates, which could really be a game changer here in the state. Talk about the number of people that we have right now, percentage-wise, in the state that have some kind of post-secondary degree and what they're looking to improve it to and how this is going to help out.
Sure. One of the governor's goals, and I believe this has been a goal in Michigan, for years now, is to have 60% of the working adults in Michigan have some sort of post-secondary degree or certificate. So that could mean a 4-year university degree. It could mean a 2-year community college degree. It could mean a certificate that maybe takes a year or more to complete. So that number was about 45% when Whitmer took office back in 2018. It is now around 51%. And of course, like I said, she wants to get it up to 60%. So this new initiative that she's proposing, which would be essentially allowing anyone just after they graduate from high school to enter community college, and the state would pay for their tuition. There's nothing stopping students from, enrolling in community college right now, but this would mean that their tuition would be covered by the state. Michigan already has the Michigan Reconnect program that has been in operation since during the pandemic that provided free community college tuition for adults over age 21. And so now this would make it anyone eligible after high school for receiving this free tuition. And
Yeah.
they expect about 18,000 people to be eligible for this or to be able to receive the free college tuition and community college tuition. And that would, her documents suggest that it would save each individual person about $4,800 a year in tuition.
Yeah, which is a huge amount when you look at that kind of secondary education. The other things that she was talking about is expansion of the free school meals that are already in place right now, but that has to come up every year for review. So you have a lot of families that would not have to worry about where meals came from in the morning and also for lunchtime too. And then what I think was also significant is talking about childcare workers that help so many parents, but actually helping the childcare workers themselves. They would get free care for their children because wages are so low for those workers.
Right there, the average is about, or the median, I'm sorry, the median is about $14, a little under $14 an hour, which adds up to about $28,000 a year, which is, considering the cost of childcare, considering the cost of getting your kids into like a preschool program, that kind of salary would not cover the kind of services that these workers are providing for other folks. And so there have been efforts over years now to increase salaries for childcare workers, for preschool workers, because the biggest problem with expanding these services is that you don't have people who are, knocking down a door to go into this field because the salaries are so low. So this could be an incentive. Although I think the state probably would need to do more to address the salaries than just providing free childcare for these workers.
Yeah, Lori, when we look at a lot of these proposals, which are statewide and, of course, district by district, there are differences in terms of how it impacts their community. Talk to me a little bit about what these budget proposals and this different spending could mean for the Detroit Community Schools Public School District and what it could change in terms of the per pupil funding that she's proposing.
Sure. So I believe the per pupil grant that she is proposing is a little under $9,900 a year. That would be the minimum amount that a school district could receive. Some districts receive more. No district would receive less. Um, but she's also proposing continuing a practice that she has started a few years ago, which is weighting funding for school districts based on the type of student that they enroll. And when I mean the type of student, I mean these are students who might require more money to educate. And so we're talking about students who are academically at risk. We're talking about students who are English language learners. We're also talking about students enrolled in career and technical education programs. Knowing that those programs are more costly to operate, the thinking is that districts would receive an additional payment for those students, and so she's proposing to increase those payments by about 5% this year, while the overall uh, uh, proposal for school funding would be around 2.5%.
Okay, Lori Higgins, the Bureau Chief of Chalkbeat Detroit, thanks so much. We know the process now will be the back and forth with the legislature to see if they're going to fund it the way that she wants them to. All right, we'll check in with you in a little bit. We appreciate the time, Lori. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Okay.